Arnold not actually a bodybuilder?
What? Arnold is a robot?
Well, okay, well, we can't even make that joke because of Terminator.
Oh, yeah, true. He was actually indeed a robot in the movie. In
Shit,
multiple movies, actually.
our clickbait finally caught up to us.
Dude, what is one of the biggest, like, I guess, what's it called? Like, injustice or whatever? Like, it's like something that should have happened was Terminator Salvation should have gotten way, way more popularity for that movie. Like, Terminator Salvation is such a damn good movie, and it's an injustice that it didn't, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it didn't get more publicity, didn't get more viewers, all that. Like, it's such a good movie.
I don't know if he talks about it in his in the documentary that you watched, but in his autobiography, he talks about like walking around the streets of New York after Terminator came out, and they didn't expect it to be a big movie. So, he's just going about doing his business, and someone recognizes him and goes, "Say the line," and he was like, "What are you talking about?" They were like, "Say the line, I'll be back," and he was like, "That's what you guys are focusing on."
He'll be famous for his accent, dude. That's it's not even really the line, it's his accent that does it.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. I'll be back. Yeah, it's a good accent for that role. But I mean, that was one of his biggest issues getting hired was his accent, I mean, he's so hard to understand. He's still pretty hard to understand for the most part now, even. So
I was
imagine.
gonna say for his autobiography, the first two chapters and the last two chapters are read by him, and then the other 50 or whatever are read by some narrator. But they always include some of the author to get you on it. And
Mhm.
I grew up listening to a German household, so I'm able to pick up on stuff. But I can understand that someone who has no experience would not be doing well with a full-blown Austrian accent like his.
I mean, it's pretty thick. I can understand him for the most part. It's just sometimes I'm like, I have to like take it slow. Sometimes if he's like really thick for
Yeah.
some reason, but for the most part, it's pretty understandable. Terminator,
Well,
he doesn't
most
have too
people.
complex lines.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, he's like he would his role in that film is more so just to be a hunk and like try and kill someone, and he does a really good job at that.
Yeah, yeah, I
I was
agree.
gonna say, most people when you live in the States or a English speaking place for more than 10 years, you kind of wean out your accent, and his has just stayed the whole time.
Yeah, it really has, which is interesting because you're right. It's there. I used to work with this guy who's from Spain, and you could never tell. Like he had no accent.
Yeah.
He'd just been here since he was like 7 or 8, and at the time we were like 18 or 19 or something. So it was roughly a decade, and his accent really wasn't there anymore. I mean, I've been down in the South for a few years and haven't lost my accent yet. So, well, it's not even that I
What?
have an accent. I don't have an accent. I'm just as American as it gets.
Well, what's wild is for some reason whenever I go down there, my southern accent comes out. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Like
you stupid one-liners, bullshit. It's like a caterpillar on a tree or some shit. Like,
I'm just a raisin under the sun, bacon.
yeah, exactly. Drying out, stupid ass.
But last week we covered Arnold Part One, where we talked about a lot of like what he brought to the bodybuilding world, his background, basically stuff that if you watch the documentary or listen to the audio book for his autobiography, you'll pick up on a lot of it. But what we are going to cover today is more specific to the training side of stuff because we're we got to finish out our boy Arnold, and training is a big part. But before we get into his training, Paul and I both are off of everything. I mean, we're two very completely cycles, but we're both off. So we'll give you a little update on that first.
Yeah, before we started recording, I was talking about how much it fucking sucks to train now. Like
Mm.
it's like doing your job and then all of a sudden you get like a 75% pay cut. It's like the fuck's the point of this now? It's like a chore. It's not even like worth it. That's
But
basically
they
what it
tell
feels like.
but they tell you that in like 2 or 3 months you're gonna get a exponential raise.
Yeah, it's gonna be even
So
better than
you
before.
have to stick it out.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally how it is. It sucks. It's like I had no motivation to go. I feel like shit when I train. I just am exhausted. I don't get any pumps really anymore. Like I have no results really. So like there's no like reward for training, Especially during prep. Like I got so used to daily changes that it's like just not getting that anymore. Even rebound wise, like I really took that for granted because rebound I was like, oh, I'm not on what I was on during prep, so I feel like shit, blah blah blah. But then it's like now that I'm not on what I was on rebound, it's like wow, I really feel like shit now.
Mm.
It sucks, but it is what it is.
You're you're in the poverty sector.
Basically, yeah. I don't understand how you natty boys do it, but I
Well,
mean,
I can't really
it's.
say you natty boys to me anymore, but
I would still call you natural. I would say.
I wouldn't. Touching SARMs, I think, puts me out of that category.
Well, that's the whole
I,
point of
all,
SARMs
no,
is that
I
you. It's
disagree.
not steroids.
I think that people have that conception, but it's stuff that if you went into a drug tested bodybuilding league, you would get flagged for it. Like it
What would you
shows
get
up in
flagged
the.
for?
I don't know. I was watching Coach Greg. Okay, maybe that's my problem. I was watching Coach Greg video on this, and because like when I just play video games, I'll have a YouTube playlist of just different stuff to keep my knowledge active. And every
Yeah,
now and then a Coach Greg video finds its way in there, and I immediately hear "well," and it just hurts my ears.
yeah.
But he was talking about how in a drug tested federation for bodybuilding.
You think SARMs are gonna pop up on your test? No, they will pop up on them. This fucking stupid
Your
ass.
balls
Like
will shrink.
I know this. They will shrink.
It happened to me.
I took 400 milligrams of Tren, which he did say he did at one point. He said he took 400 milligrams. I'm like, damn.
Hey,
But
that's
anyways, go
that's
ahead.
that's lightweight to Rich Piana. I was on a CC of Tren.
Yeah, he when what's funny is that some dudes will talk about their gear cycles and they'll talk in terms of syringes.
What?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
different size
you'll hear.
syringes.
Well, yeah, it's the more stupid you are. So like they'll be like, oh, like sometimes they'll talk in milliliters. Like they'll be like, oh, I take 2 ml test Monday. Like Rich
I
Piana's was
can
Monday, Wednesday,
understand.
Friday.
I can
You know,
understand them saying it in milliliters a little more, but saying by like syringe or like I had 1 cup of test.
we could say like, oh, I have a syringe test on Monday. I have a syringe test on when. I mean, that they clearly don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They just say it's a syringe, but
I think that only
also,
works. That only works in conversation between two people who 100% know what the other one is taking. Like if you and I talked about it, I could surmise to the dosage if you were to refer to it like that, but you wouldn't because you're not an idiot. So
yeah, and at the same time, if you're going to talk in terms of like half a syringe or something to the general public, who doesn't know the dosage of your actual anabolics, then you could be taking anything, like any
mm,
amount, because like there's like even the different suspensions that you can get, like Masteron or not Masteron, sorry, enanthate versus like acetate or propionate,
prop.
like
Yeah.
yeah, they'll have different dosages, so it's like speaking in terms of milliliters or syringes in that case, it fucking doesn't make any sense. That's why you talk in milligrams, and like I hated it when the Trend twins, there's a video of them and they were like, oh, I'm taking 200 mil right now every other day, and he's like, dude, I'm taking 300 every day or something. It was like I was like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like you're talking like or 200 not mil, it's like point 0.2 mil. I mean, not 200 mil, 0.2 mil.
I was going to say 200 mil. That's like not a gallon, but that's like 16 ounces right
Well,
there.
yeah, 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters. So 200
The
mil is
2
one-fifth
yeah,
of a liter.
yeah.
So
So
we're probably talking like 8 ounces, maybe a little less.
I had a Sprite can's worth of test.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I exactly one prime can of
Oh
testosterone.
god, I went to. I know this. We're jumping even further, but I went to Dick's because I had to go buy some gear for a different sport I play, and
Hmm.
they had like 6 different flavors of Prime pre-workout.
Mhm. Like the
I
powder?
Yeah, like the tubs. Like
Mhm.
I wanted to turn around and walk away.
I
I'll give
haven't read the ingredients yet of it. I wonder if
I'll
the
give
doses are
well,
efficacious.
my thing is that it's just an I don't like when brands come around just because someone well known is the owner or creator. Like for example, like one of my all time favorite pre that I never touch because I want to preserve how good it is and how like much I react to it. But it's that adrenaline pre workout. I don't know a fucking thing about that. Like in terms of who owns it, who markets it, people on their brand. Like I don't know anything about that. And it gave me good results. And like you talked about it, and Coach Alex talked to me about it, and like those things make me want it more. But when it's someone well known, a lot of people are just drinking it because oh my god, KSI and Logan Paul made this
Mhm.
product, and I want to be like them. So
I mean, that's
because
just
they're
marketing.
both physically like great specimens. I mean, Logan more so than KSI, but you know, it's that whole mindset of seeing somebody wanting to be like that.
Yeah, I mean, what is interesting that I found out recently is that so Congo Brands actually makes like 80% of the profits. So Logan and KSI have equity in the company. That's why they signed with them. So they
Yeah.
didn't create Prime. That's the thing people forget is that like Logan and Paul own part of the company because of their names, but they never created Prime. It was never their drink. It is partially their drink now, but Congo Brands owns the other 80%. Congo also owns Alani Nu, which I believe I don't know if they started it or if they bought them because I know in June this year, Alani Nu is trying to sell it for like $3 billion or some shit. But they own Alani Nu and they also own 3D Energy. So 3D Energy is also a decent energy drink. Super simple marketing. Like it's literally just a solid colored can with 3D on the front. And it's got like the 300 milligrams of caffeine, I think. So they own those three different brands. So that's the thing, like with bottlers, is that brands like this, like food brands, beverage brands, they usually own multiple, like the actual parent company will own multiple brands. And on
Mm.
top of that, people don't understand how bottling even happens typically. So I'm not sure if this is how prime hydration works or anything like that. But the way like Coca-Cola works is Coca-Cola doesn't actually make any of their beverages. What they do is they make the syrups. They keep that in house. Then they ship these syrups to beveraging companies. And the
Yep.
companies will then use that syrup, combine it with carbonated water, and then bottle it and then ship those out to their local area. So, big one near me that's based out of Charlotte is called Coca Cola Consolidated, arguably one of the biggest, if not the biggest bottler in the US. And I actually used to work for a company that had them as a customer for certain things. And they just brought in so much fucking money. So what you're getting is technically not like Coca-Cola's drink. It's technically Coca-Cola consolidated drink with Coca-Cola's syrup in it. So that's something to consider too. Is that I'm not sure if that's how this works for energy drinks, but I wouldn't be surprised if like Monster. Well, I know Red Bull. That's how Red Bull works. Red
Mm.
Bull is technically a marketing company on paper. They don't actually. I don't even think they create their syrup for the actual energy drinks. I'm pretty sure the bottling companies also create the syrups. So they license out production of the drinks and they take a portion of the profits when these companies sell their Red Bull drinks. So that's why Red Bull is sponsoring fucking everything because they're global. They're one of the biggest brands in the world and they make all their money from marketing versus from bottling. So it's pretty interesting. Which actually McLaren just announced Monster is now sponsored with McLaren in F1. So that's gonna be sick. It's gonna be Red Bull slash what used to be Honda versus McLaren slash Monster. It's gonna be fucking
Hmm.
sick. I'm so hyped for next season.
There's gonna be on the okay. I don't know cars enough, so you can correct me. But the is it the spoiler? Is the thing off the back? The
Yeah,
like the I don't even know what to
they
describe
call
it
it the
as, but
wing technically, but it's the
okay,
big yeah the big
that will
spoiler thing.
have
Yeah.
the Red Bull because Red Bull gives you wings, and then on the McLarens they're gonna have a jaw like thing on the front engine, so it looks like an actual monster.
That'd be sick, but that would fuck with the aerodynamics. I wish they could do that though.
All right, McLaren, and who's the other brand?
It was well, Red Bull is the other brand that's facing McLaren,
Okay,
but it's
brands.
Monster and McLaren versus Red Bull.
Christoph Knoll, hire me as your marketer.
Hire me as your aerodynamics engineer. I will make a monster mouth for your car.
You will lose every race, but goddamn, you'll look good.
God, you'll be so pretty out there, but fuck, you will suck so bad.
You'll get relegated.
You will borderline be disqualified every race. Which is true about F1. If you actually qualify so bad, you can be disqualified. People don't realize that. You can actually disqualify.
I'm gonna enter with my Kona EV and just shock the world.
Oh, actually, when I come up next week,
speed charge in the middle of the race.
I mean, you got Formula E, man. That shit's sick. Formula E is sick.
Continue,
but when I come up, I'm actually we're renting a Tesla from Hertz for the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you know what one?
It's just a Model 3. It's nothing special. We had the choice between a Polestar 2 and a Model 3, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's try Tesla. I also want to try Polestar one day, but
I was gonna say Polestar is so for anyone who doesn't drive an electric vehicle, Tesla's the name they know. For everybody who does drive an electric vehicle, Polestar is like, okay, that's Polestar and Rivian are like the two that are like, okay, those are like, yeah.
See, I would have picked.
I can't blame you because the Teslas are they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I wanted to pick the Model 3 because if I were to, it's tough because if I were to get an electric vehicle, it'd probably be either a Model 3 or a Mustang Mach-E. So I was like, fuck it, let's try the Model 3 just to see how it drives, see if I'd even like it. But I kind of low key wanted to try the Polestar because it's Polestar, you know. Yep. And which is interesting is that Polestar was originally, I forget if it was, I think it's Volvo's like performance brand. It wasn't electric originally. It was supposed to be their sports car, hypercar, like performance brand.
Well, they look like a sport car.
Yeah, so they did start out with a very similar look with a sports car. I think it was a V8 or something. And then they transitioned it into an electric car company because it just wasn't selling. The sports car just wasn't selling. So they transitioned to their electric company. And now they have the Polestar 1, 2, and I think 3 now or something. But yeah, it's pretty sweet. So I'm excited to try out that Tesla. There is the supercharge station at the mall there. So I might need to use that at least once while I'm up there. But
and a couple van sessions too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we got to train a Anarchy, man. Actually, I was gonna ask you if you see him or anybody, just I'll send you the money. Just throw them some cash for me to come up there, like $20 or something.
I was gonna say I saw Van yesterday, so
yeah. Next
time I see him, I'll let him know. Do you still have your fob or I don't even know? No, you're using someone else's fob.
I would just go with you whenever we go. So as long as you got your fob, we're good. So just throw them like $20 and I'll go there probably a couple days and we'll see what happens other than that.
Yep.
But to get back to Arnold.
Well, I was going to say for the update, you're off of everything for how long? Do you know what your timeline is looking like?
I'm hoping that I'm back on everything come like Christmas time, roughly. Okay. Like give or take around there. Because I am basically out of everything after. So I'm out of raloxifene now. And then I think I have one more pin of HCG. And that's pretty much it at that point. There's no more point of really taking. I don't think there's really any point of taking any more Clomid. And that would be the only thing I'd be taking, which is just 25 milligrams a day. It's just a little oral pill. Helps lower the estrogen for a certain amount of time. So that's really the only thing that's going on right now with that. So I think I'm essentially will be off everything as of today, I believe, like fully off everything, not even in PCT after today. So when I actually get back onto something, yeah, I'd probably say like maximum like 3 to 4 weeks probably. And then we'll be back, training and probably doing some sort of blast or something. We might get into a cruise. I'm not sure what the plan is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely ready to, because we're trying to cut back on fat right now. Like I got a new plan. It's less food, like less carbs. It's not a ton less, but it's less, and also added cardio. So it's 5 sessions of 25 minutes now, and then the less carbs. So I'm actually down a little bit of weight this week. So that's pretty exciting. I want to see the fat leave. I told him last week, I was like, dude, I'm definitely ready for a recomp because I really hate seeing how much fat and water I'm putting on. I got up to my heaviest I've ever been. So it
What's
wasn't
your what's your heavy?
I think sometime during the week I was around just under 208.
Nice.
So now I'm at like 204.7 or something like that. So I dropped a lot of weight this week. It was just a lot of water and a lot of fat that I build up pretty easily. And that's just naturally I just build up water and fat,
Yeah.
especially with like prolactin and stuff like that, because of, it sounds stupid, but being in a relationship, you build up more prolactin, especially now that we're trying for a child. And then even more so when we get pregnant. Once she's pregnant, once you're, if you are with, a girl, obviously, and you get her pregnant, as a guy, you naturally build up more prolactin in order to put on more fat, allowing you to have more stored energy for sleepless nights when your baby is born.
Mhm.
It's just something we do biologically. So once she is pregnant, I will probably like especially if I wasn't on anything, my fat would just skyrocket probably because my body's just getting ready for a kid.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens when you are in a relationship too. Even once you get comfortable in a relationship, that's why they say like, oh, you get chunky when you're comfortable in a relationship, and that's kind of part of the reason why is your prolactin levels are increasing. Your body's getting ready to reproduce, so you got to be on top of that. My prolactin was through the fucking roof when we last
Mm.
tested it, so that was really more so my gyno than anything. But the good news is that even at the weight that I'm at, even at my heaviest, I still have more definition than I did, like prior to like my show. Like my heaviest before my shows, I had more fat than I do now, way more fat than I do now, and also way less muscle too, and a lot weaker too. Like I just did a overhand barbell rows for the first time in like I have no idea how long, probably like a good year at least. And I did 2 plates for like 8 or 9, and I was pretty happy
Hell
about
yeah.
that. So I was like, all right, not too bad. I'm not really on anything, so I'm not overly strong right now, but I'm definitely a lot stronger than I used to be. So pretty happy about that. And I'm still benching 225 for reps, like 8, 9 reps now. I haven't squatted in a while, so I have no idea where that's at. But for the most part, my strength's maintaining for the most part. My energy is fucking shit though, dude.
Yep.
Like it sucks so bad. I don't want to train more than I'm like the most I ever trained is like 40, 45 minutes. Honestly. But it's also a lot of movements. Like I like my back day, which I just did a couple days ago. It's 4 supersets. No, it's 3 supersets and a single set. So I do 4 back movements and 3 tricep movements. So it's overall 7 movements. I just am able to bang it out in like 40, 45 minutes because I don't take much rest. So it's hard, but I don't want to be there any longer than I have to be.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Nice.
It's no fun.
Yeah, I'm looking at um I'm my mind's a lot different than Paul's, but off of the 2 compounds that I was taking for SARMs, and I've maintained throughout my entire life. I've been at the 200 mark my entire adult life, like regardless of how I look. I've just always been 200 and it sucks. But
Hmm.
I peaked at 213. That was last week. I was around 213, one of my weigh-ins.
Nice.
So I'm immediately thinking about what I'm doing, and I'm hopping back on. I haven't decided quite yet what I want to do, but it'll be January 1st, and then all the way through to the end of March. So a 3 month little push, and then just get ready for the summer. And I'm just mine is just small PCT with clomiphene, just 20 megs per day, just until the end of this week, and then done with that, and then just
Hmm.
natty until as natty as it comes until the end of the year. So, but you're right.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as bad for in comparison to what you're experiencing, but there are some days where I'm just not happy in the gym, and that sucks because gym is my happy place. So
Yeah.
it depends on the day. Like my back and chest days, I love it. You can't get me out of there. Like I'm in there, but I've started my leg days really really suck now because my joints just because of all the injuries I had. My joints are still in the process of healing. Well, not the joints, the muscles surrounding the joints, and it just sucks. Like I can't really squat. That's my thing. Like I can squat low weight and like kind of high rep, but I can't really do what I like to do, which is squat a lot and really push myself because that's you have to push yourself incredibly hard on leg days, and I can't really do that when I squat. So I do a lot of hack squats now, and the pendulum press or whatever it's called with the
Mhm.
giant arm that swings
I just
down.
call it a pendulum squat, I
Yeah,
think.
pendulum squat. Yeah. Those two are where I can really target, my quads really well. Obviously, you can change your positioning and target hammies and glutes too, but that's where I get my best quad exposure just from or sorry, without damaging my ankles or knees.
Yeah, that's my problem with honestly like leg press. Like squatting, I'm fine with my knees and all that. It's fine for me. I typically use squatting for quads, but I've been kind of avoiding it lately just because I don't want to. I'm less prone to injury, but I want to do more stuff that I enjoy rather than like get more gains out of right now. Just because
Hmm.
I don't want to train in the first place. But leg press is my favorite for quads, but it takes so long to put the weight on and take it off that I don't have any motivation to do it. It's like it'll legit take me like 15 minutes to 20 minutes to do leg press just because I have to put on, 8, 9, 10, 11 plates, whatever I feel like hitting that day, and then taking them off, and that just takes so much time. And I'm so exhausted after lifting all that weight, like pulling it off the bar and then putting it onto a machine of some sort. It just takes so fucking long. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah,
That's my
I get that.
problem. Yeah. But
That's why training partners are superior.
yeah, I wish. Yeah. But thankfully, the gym I go to does have 100-pound plates. So it's not too bad a lot of the time.
Hmm.
It's just, but a 100-pound plate is heavy as fuck when you're putting it on and taking it off. But right now, I just do vertical leg press because it's still kind of a leg press, but I put less weight on there. You don't have to have as much weight because the weight is directly above you. It feels a lot heavier.
Yep.
So that's what I
It's
do for
also
leg press.
constant tension. Like
Yeah.
with a you know with a standard angled leg press, there are moments where you don't feel the weight as much, but with a vertical leg press, it's like you're feeling it 100% of the time. It's like
Yeah.
doing a cable exercise compared to like a dumbbell exercise. Both are good, but you'll feel the tension always during the cable exercise.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. I mean, it is a lot more nerve-wracking too because the weight's above you. I'm used to it
Mm,
now, but when you first try a vertical leg press, it's a little scary because the weight's above you and it's
yep.
pressing down onto your body. Like with a angled leg press, you got safeties and you know that at the end of the day, if it were to crush onto you, you'd be fine because it's built that way. But like a vertical leg press, yeah, there are stoppers, but you like won't be able to get out. Like you have to have someone lift the weight off you.
Yep.
So it's a bit nerve wracking. It's just a weird sensation, to experience the weight directly above you. Nice.
She was gonna start knocking stuff over if I didn't pull the chair for her.
But yeah, so with that being said, I mean, my biggest thing that I miss is just honestly, it's gonna sound stupid, but trend, and it's not because of the gains. It's the way it made me feel training.
Yeah.
It just like even on a low dose that I was on, it felt like training felt like sex a little bit. Like it was so good. Like it felt like all I wanted to do was train.
It is like the feeling of coming.
I almost prefer coming, or I don't prefer coming. It's almost as good as coming. What the fuck he said in that interview. You've never
when
seen
I want
biceps
to
like
do
these.
when I want to do one more curl, it feels like I am coming.
I'm coming from the pump. I prefer the pump over
Oh, the pump.
coming.
That's what it is. Yeah, he talks about the pump with that.
Come on, come on. Get the pump, come.
Yeah, I mean
But
that's like an early like attempt at clickbait.
yeah, I don't know what the hell he was experiencing. They didn't have trend back then, so I can tell you it's definitely not what trend is. So there's no way you could ever think that getting a pump is as good as coming. There's no way.
Yeah. On that point, you mentioned Trennan back in the day. So like Arnold's golden era bodybuilder came from the it started 60s, 70s, 80s, and then finished up around. Actually, no, he finished up in the 80s. Sorry,
Mhm.
and part of part of you know what he was doing is like his diet and supplements. And I found this prior when we were looking up our sources and whatnot. And I just want you guys to hear, this is according to this site, the only thing that Arnold was taking. He was taking a multivitamin, creatine, and then some BCAAs. That's it. No big juice. Just those three.
He did talk about it in a video, I think, and I think it was like 50 milligrams of D-ball, and like I think he would just do whatever the doctor said for test. I don't even think he talked about his test.
Yeah.
I forget what
And
it
and
was.
in the autobiography, it's very clear he's not talking about what compounds and what dosage, but he said that he went to his doctor and was like, "Hey, everyone else is doing this. What do you think?" And the doctor was
Yeah,
like, "Well, here you go."
that's how it was. You just go to the doctor and they give you everything. You'd get everything from your doctor. D-ball
Can you
test,
imagine? Can you imagine
NMR.
if we were in, obviously, way less information and data, so we wouldn't be as mindful of it. But if you imagine if we had our like modern day understanding and the golden era standards for like lacks of standards for going to the doctor, like, oh, that'd be incredible. Hey doc, I need some tren. What do you got for me?
I
Well,
mean,
what kind?
there are clinics like that. They'll just you just go, you get tested. You know, they test you, but it doesn't really matter what pops up on the test, and they'll just fucking throw Deca at you.
Yeah.
Like it's just how it is. There's a clip or episode of Veronica Mars my wife and I were watching, and this kid goes down to Mexico to get steroids for this bodybuilder. The dude, he said he bought 8 grand worth of steroids. I'm like, fucking what? I'm like, that's so much. Like that
Yep.
is so fucking much. Like that is unbelievable amount.
What I wonder if it's 8 grand US dollars or 8 grand peso,
It
because
was eight
eight
grand
grand peso.
USD.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say eight
Yeah.
grand of peso is only like, I don't know, like $300 for us, I think.
No,
And
no, no. It was a whole episode because he owed him the money, but he couldn't find the steroids, and it ended up being his friend took them. But he had to come up with 8 grand to give him, and he's like, "Oh, he doesn't want the money; he wants the steroids and whatnot." And which is, I mean, it's relatively accurate because actually Mexico is very, very lax about steroids. You can go buy tons of steroids just over the counter in stores, so they're pretty
yeah,
lax about it.
it's like the videos of like Indonesia. You walk into like some convenience store and it was like, "Hey, you got test?"
Yeah, it's literally just on the shelf. You can just buy it. They advertise it. Some places advertise it on
Hmm.
their windows that they got like different steroids. But it's just funny to me. I'm like, that's just so much fucking money. Like I've never heard people spending that much on like the most I've heard in real life is like 500 or 600 bucks at once on just tests because they order from China. So they like buy it in bulk
Well, I was
and
gonna
then
say,
suspend it themselves.
well, yeah, I guess for people but people we've heard of. I mean, we heard of Liver King Cycle, which was
Oh, yeah.
15K. So,
Yeah, of course. And
but
Rich
yeah,
Piano's
for
is
people
expensive too. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. People I know personally, I know someone who buys it in bulk from China, which is really where most tests comes from. Testosterone is extremely cheap to make, very easy to make. It's hard to mess up as well.
I
You
was
have to
going to
really.
say, what's the quality standard from getting it that region of the world?
It's pretty high. A
Because
lot of.
I don't mean that in like a discriminatory kind of way. I mean it in the way of like when you buy like fake jerseys or stuff like that. You get decent quality product, but it's clearly a fake. Like
Yeah,
like they specialize in that. They know how to undercut the American economy to like it's good for them. Like they make a lot of money doing it because it's so cheap to make it.
yeah,
But that's all I meant with that comment.
yeah, yeah. No, it's a fair question because you're getting it from a place that's known for cheap products and cheap labor and all of that. So it's
Yeah,
not a unfair question. So to answer your question, it is if you know where you're getting it from and you do like especially if you have a source or like a reference or something, then you can get high quality stuff. Obviously, there's always going to be fakes out there and all that. And you got to be careful of that. But for the most part, most places you get testosterone is going to come from China. Other places, like other things, are coming from other places. So I don't know exactly the origin of other things. I want to say Tren might actually come from America. Primo probably comes from America as well, just given how expensive it is. But testosterone is very cheap to make. It's a few bucks a vial, really, for like 10 mil worth of test, which is probably like, I don't know, like 2 grams of test is probably um
Couple
like five
hundred.
ten bucks to make for
Oh,
them.
I,
So
I was yeah. Resale
you
is what
buy
I was
them in
thinking.
if you buy them in bulk. I think I was talking to someone and he said he bought like, I think it was like 10 or 15 vials for like 500 bucks, and each vial was like 2 grams. Once you suspended it, it's about 10 milliliters of testosterone.
Yeah.
So you buy it in bulk, and it's cheaper in the long run. But it also depends on who you know too, because if there's a bunch of middlemen, it's going to add up in price. So
Hmm.
one of the sources I go to, if I think he might actually get it direct from them, because it's like 80 bucks or something for 20 mil,
He's able to
which
keep his
is,
prices down.
yeah, his prices are really low. And on top of that, I was telling someone, I was like, yeah, I spend 80 bucks on a vial. And they're like, oh, that's not bad. I'm like, well, 20 mil. And they're like, what? Like, oh, that's fucking phenomenal. And then I'm like, yeah, they also do like routine tests, and they also send out these tests to their customers. They say, hey, we just got, like, I got one a few weeks ago. It's like, oh, they tested a few different products and they all came back 99% purity, which is like as pure as it's going to get.
Oh yeah.
And they also say, like, the lab is actually like a reputable lab that people get shit tested at. So it's pretty good pricing and all of that. It is a lot. Anabolics is also a lot cheaper than people think it is. Even if you're going pharma grade, it's really not that expensive. But
Can
when you go
can
to a
you
clinic, it
imagine?
can be.
I was gonna say, can you imagine bringing in some products to get tested? Let's say like you run a little operation, you're getting your test checked, you're getting your let's say like I don't know, Anavar checked and anything. Like you just bring a couple compounds in whatever form, and the person at the lab goes, "So where'd you get these?"
I mean, they don't really care. I mean, because you could be working for a clinic theoretically. I mean, there's I'm sure there's like NDAs involved, and
Oh, I know.
you might not
I'm just
necessarily need to tell them personal information or anything.
yeah, I'm just adding a comedic flair to it.
No, yeah, no, it's totally fair. Like it'd be kind of questionable. I always also wonder that about like blood testing facilities like
Mm.
Quest or LabCorp, and I get my results back, and or like for okay, so like Private MD Labs or whatever is like one of the lab places I get my stuff done.
And
So
they're
like
like,
the way it
your free
works.
test is 950.
Yeah, so you buy this thing called a requisition. Basically, you basically buy these tests from these companies, right? And they'll say, okay, so they have like a partnership with LabCorp or Quest Diagnostics. Typically, I prefer Quest over LabCorp. That's just me personally. I just like the way they work better. But you go to the facility, you have these things called requisition papers, and you give them requisition papers. Tells them who you are, what you're there for, all that. So they basically take that information and take the amount of blood that's required by the test. So they tell LabCorp, hey, we're going to need, 100 milliliters or whatever of their blood in X number of vials in this distribution of vials. So take this blood, send it back to us. Once they get it back, they run the test and then send you the results. So I think it's funny when I get my results back and it's like literally like 700 milligrams of free test. And imagine the guy like, I don't know if it's probably automated of some sort, but imagine the guy like running the test and he's just like, Jesus, this dude's about to die.
He's been looking over like regular blood tests of like, older people trying to identify like, underlying issues, and then yours just pops up and he's like, "Whoa, it's God himself."
It's 5,000. You can even like some tests won't even test for total tests after a certain point. Like some of them will like 2,500 nanograms, which is granted that's triple the high end of normal. Normal range is 500 to 900. So triple the high end is roughly 2,500. So sometimes they won't even test further than that. It would say, oh, it's over 2,500 nanograms. We don't actually know how much. It's just over that.
Mm.
So it'd be funny to me that they see that they're like, fuck, dude. Yeah, it's so high we can't even measure it. It's literally off the charts. It'd be funny.
That's great.
But yeah, so to get back to Arnold, they just got it from clinics, and a lot of clinics will kind of give you shit like that. Not nearly as as much as they used to. Like, you should be able to guess. You used to be able to go to like your PCP and get this shit diagnosed to you, or not diagnosed, like prescribed to you, and you just go buy test. And it was also so much fucking cheaper back then too. Like, it was nothing.
Mm,
It was pennies, dude. Which also makes you wonder, it's so much more marked up now. Like, I know someone who goes to a clinic now, and once a month, I think he goes and gets tested, and they also give him like a month's supply of I think it was testosterone. I think it was cream though, because like there's different ways to take testosterone, and one of the ways you take it, if you're on like a TRT dosage, is a cream that you put on your skin,
yeah,
like an
just
ointment. It's literally like
infuses.
a lotion. Yeah, it infuses
Yeah,
with your skin, and it's also low. It's slower digesting that way too. So you get like a month's supply of it for like $100, and I'm like, fuck you, that's expensive. Like, that is expensive, but granted, if you aren't involved in the bodybuilding community, you don't have a guy to go to, you don't understand what you're ordering, you don't understand how, the dark web works, or how, distribution of money works in that sense too. Like, then, obviously clinics are just so much fucking easier to go to and get it done. Granted, like I said, it's a lot more expensive, but it could be worth it depending on the person. So with the clinics back then, you just go and just say what you want and they'd give it to you. It's kind of like medicinal marijuana
yeah.
doctors now. Like, you just go and be like, oh, I have stress, and they just give you a fucking card. Like, they don't care
We don't have to
at
deal
the end
with
of the
that
day.
up here. We
Yeah,
it's
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 legal.
full blown up here.
Yeah, most places I think are going in that direction anyways, but yeah, it's just astounding to me that it used to be that way. I wish it was still that way. But, you got your bad apples who abuse it and kind of ruin it for everybody else. But the good news is that the way they look at steroids now is kind of the way I feel like they've always kind of looked at it, where the law, at least. I think really so you talk to any cops, you talk to DEA, all that, they really don't give a shit if you're just taking like steroids. They really don't care. Like, if they were to catch you, like if you're driving and they search your car or something and they find it, they probably have to confiscate it, but they're not going to arrest you for it. They're not going to, like, who really, like, you're going to arrest someone over testosterone. And if the guys
Yeah.
look like clearly like, and you can get a prescription for it too. Like, that's another thing guys do too. They'll go to a clinic, get a prescription for test. If you're just a bodybuilder, get a prescription, and that way you can cover your ass in the case that like you ever caught with something.
Or I
But
mean, it might not work down where you are, but up here, all you gotta do is say say two words. I'm transitioning, and you are completely covered in terms of test.
you just be like, I was born a man, I transitioned to the female, and now I'm transitioning back to a man.
Not even. I was born a man. I'm transitioning to a different level of man.
Yeah, I'm transitioning to a Superman, an extraordinary man, and that's why I'm taking testosterone. It was prescribed by Doctor, I don't know, whatever, blue hair, I don't know, but
Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Isn't that the
yeah,
guy from? Yeah.
Harry the Platypus. But yeah, so you get the prescription just to cover your ass, and you talk to cops too. There's this actually recently, I saw this clip. This guy was talking to a cop. He was a comedian and he was doing crowd work. He was talking to a cop, and he said something about like steroids or something, and the cop goes, "Yeah, I used to take them." And he goes, "What? You're a cop?" And cop goes, "All of us took it.
Yeah.
Like, all of us cops were taking steroids." Which, it's very like, I have a couple cop friends, and they're very much, when it comes to steroids, like, they know I take it, and I know cops who have taken it or do take it, and their stance, and a lot of cop stances, is very much like, don't ask, don't tell. And same with the
Hmm.
military. The military is the same kind of way, where it's very much an ask, don't tell. It's like, you kind of know like who's taking it, but like, as long as you don't just like blatantly like showcase it, I don't think anybody's really going to care.
And with the military too, if you have an overseas deployment, oh
Oh, those
baby,
dudes fucking get huge, especially if you're in like Pakistan or Iran or something like that, where it
like
is legal to go buy shit.
can you imagine, like, completely, like, just it? Your family, one of your family members ships overseas, and let's say, regular looking guy. Like, imagine, like,
Yeah,
either one of us before our weightlifting journey began, and shipped off overseas, comes back like a year later on discharge paper isn't the right word, but
Well, like an
the
honorable discharge.
well, or I'm just saying visitation, like one of those like 3-day passes or whatever, where you
Yeah, it's being
fly
sent
home
home
and
side. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And you come home for Christmas, and
yeah,
this person walks in with 30 pounds of added lean muscle, no hair,
yeah. It's fucking
and you're and
huge.
you're and you're supposed to sit there and go, oh, so that's just the military discipline, is it? And the person actively pinning goes, yeah, that's right.
That's just how it is. No, it's I do know someone who has served, and yeah, the steroid usage out overseas typically is pretty substantial.
Mm.
It's very much abused a lot of the time, and also like at the same time when you're out there and you're not working, you don't really got much going on. You know, you're kind of just
You're
there.
just gonna work out, yeah,
Yeah, like if I had nothing to do besides work, I would just go train, like, because I
yeah.
just have something to do. Like, even if like, I just go train total body, like, every day just cause. Like, if like, I'd be there for 3 hours, you know, like, who cares? Like, you got nothing else to do. You just go home and you could even really, like you could maybe watch TV, stuff like that. You could maybe use your phone. I'm not even sure how it works now, but, like, he was saying that, that's what a lot of them would do. And, the food that they're feeding you isn't the most micronutrient dense, but it's pretty macronutrient dense food. And, you talk to people who have served, each branch treats food differently. But there's a podcast clip I saw where this guy was talking, and he was in the Marines, and he said the way they would feed you in the Marines is if you were too fat, they would actually feed you half a portion of each meal. So like they'd actually cut your meal in half with each meal until you lost the weight. And he said if you're skinny, they'd actually feed you double. And he goes, "Oh, wouldn't you guys like trade?" And he goes, "No, you actually have to eat so fast you can't even talk." He's like,
Yeah,
You got drill sergeants yelling at you to eat faster, and you have to shove this Salisbury steak down your throat. And if you got two portions, he's like, it sucks because you have to eat so much food at once and with every single meal.
you just you stack 2 steaks on top of each other, grab it like a sandwich, and just go to
Literally,
town.
like that's yeah. You'd have to like I imagined almost like pancakes. Like you stack them and cut them, and you'd eat
Yeah.
two bites at once. But the other thing with military too is that you also don't want to be massive. Like these massive dudes in the military are definitely not infantry, because if you're an infantry and you're actually on the ground in the fight, theoretically, you don't want to be massive. You want to be able to manipulate your body really well, and you want to also be able to carry a lot of weight. You don't want to be massive muscular wise, because then you're going to be a bitch to carry around in the case that you go down,
Mm.
and it's going to be harder to manipulate your body weight. I was talking to someone,
Well,
the same guy who's in the military, and he said, I sent this video to him, and it was like, this guy was like just fucking massive. I was like, dude, I was like, how does this dude look this lean in the military? And
mm,
he goes, I would be so upset if he was on my team, because he's like, because if he went down and we're out there in a fight, he goes, it would be such a bitch to pull him out of there because of how heavy he is. Even though he's lean, he's super fucking heavy. And at the same time, these guys are, I can speak to it that any bodybuilder is stiff and not agile. I am not athletic at all, but I
mm,
can train, I can lift. But if I were to try to go do like an obstacle course, I'd be probably slow because I can't move my body weight around that well. I'm not built to do that. Like I've trained to move other weight around, not my weight, you know.
yeah,
So it's something to consider for those in the military.
yeah. Just to loop back to some Arnold stuff. Arnold's routine was one that made, especially when he was marketing it, when he got into that side of things, it was one that kind of was not the norm for people to kind of interact with, because a lot of his, especially his supersets, were conflicting muscle groups, and it would be, things that you wouldn't pair together, like, oh, I'm this is not part of like the strict routine, but like you would go from like a lat pull down to bench press. Like you would be training to like different sides of your body. But I've ran a workout, an Arnold routine. I'm gonna pick back up the Arnold routine on the new year when I'm back on the different compounds, and it's a ton of fun. Don't get me wrong, it's a ton of fun because you walk out of that gym just exhausted every day, because when you train, like for example, you train chest, like most people, men for men, International Chest Day is Monday. And because if you go to any commercial gym on a Monday, every dude's training chest. When you train chest, you can, and nothing else, and you train hard, you'll still be exhausted, but it's because you only train chest and like you're able to put all your energy into that. But if you train, like, for example, Arnold's routine is chest and back on the same day, your body has to divert energy and everything that goes into a workout to two different halves of your body. So it just continues to test your endurance of how long you can actually go and how much you can actually push. Like, come the end of the workout, I'm like crawling out of there. Like if I really push it. So like his was always it's a 3 day workout routine, and the days just repeat. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, off 7. Like off the seventh day. You don't rest
Yeah,
7
you're
days,
not off 7 days.
but off on the seventh day. Let me clarify with that.
Yeah.
So then the day one is back chest or chest back, and then abs are thrown in a couple of these.
But let me. So, are you supersetting? So, I see the workout here on this website, and the way they listed it
Yeah,
was chest and then back and then abs. Did you superset the chest with back?
not always, but for me, I would try to superset them if it was reasonable enough in the gym. At Empire
Yeah,
is tough because of how busy it was. When I
yeah,
tried out at Van, I'm probably going to be able to do a lot of it because there's just not nearly as many people there. Like peak rush hour at Van is like 8 people.
yeah.
So
Exactly.
I can very easily go around. So I would prefer to do it, but most of the time I can't.
Yeah. Which I mean, the way he would train too. This is the other thing. So the one that I'm looking at here was the one that was featured in the New Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding,
Hmm.
by Arnold and Bill Dobbins. So
Great book.
in it,
Buy it if you don't have it.
yeah, I got to read it. So a lot of the way he would train was he would literally do supersets. There's videos of him going from bench press immediately into a lat pull down.
Hmm.
So that's typically how he would train. So you're training anterior muscles, and that was the way. So this is back to the 70s, 60s, and 70s, where they didn't know as much about the human physique and really everything that we know about today about human anatomy. So at the time, the logic behind it was while my chest is resting, I can hit my back. So that's the logic behind it. So that's why they were doing a lot of supersets, a lot of anterior muscle movements for those supersets. And also they felt that the more training you did, the more results you got. There to them, there wasn't really like a
Yeah, they
diminishing
were volume
return.
heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there wasn't to them. There was no diminishing return. It was how long could they train for. So this example that you were saying is chest and back, then shoulder and arms, and then legs and lower back,
Yep.
which is mostly what he did. He would say, I think he was in the gym for up to like 4 hours or something
Well,
a
he
lot
would
of the
split
time.
workouts. So workout in the morning, workout at the end, or at like he'd split his workouts.
How would he do that with chest and back day or like the other days
No, no, like he would be hitting it twice. Like if he
in one
did
day?
yeah, like chest and back in the morning, go do stuff, chest and back at the in the evening or something.
Wow.
Or
Okay.
yeah, he was a monster.
Yeah, 2 days is not ideal. Let me tell you that. 2 days is not ideal.
I
Anybody?
I used to do 2 a day over last summer, but it would be very specific. It would be like if I did, arms, I can go and hit something else. I would never repeat a muscle group on the same day.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I was only ever doing it because I'm a teacher and I don't work in the summer. So I was like, what else am I going to do?
yeah, I think for results wise, 2 days is not ideal. I can understand going to the gym to train and then coming back later on to do cardio, but to actually train for hypertrophy, you're kind of wasting your time with 2 days
Mm,
unless you're on like a shit ton of anabolics, which is what anabolics does. Is really at the end of the day it just helps with recovery. So if you're taking a lot of anabolics and you recover like a motherfucker, really, then you could do 2 days and it could be beneficial. But at that point, it's you're doing a lot of damage to your body. But there is another split. It says his second variation. How the fuck he did this, I have no idea. So it's 21 movements on a chest, back, and leg day, and
oh,
each movement has Most of them have 6 sets. Some of them have 4, some of them have 5. But I don't fucking understand how someone can do that in one day. 21 movements.
Well, they would just live at the gym. Like if you like the old documentaries, like that were around Arnold and Columbo and those guys, they were just either at the gym or at the beach because especially Arnold, Weeder was paying like it was taking care of him, so he didn't have to do anything other than work out and look good. So he was literally just at the gym or at the beach the whole day, nothing else.
That's insane to me.
If I
But
had the ability to do that, I would love to do that. But at the same time, I live in New England, so if I did that in the dead of the winter, I'm not going to be going to. There's no like I live on a lake. I'm not going to go to the beach of the lake.
yeah, I bet like Arnold got there, and after Joe Weider started paying for him, he's just like, "All right, we're doing a fucking 8-hour arm workout today.
Hey
Eight
guys, I
hour
found
arm workout."
I found a crazy new leg day. Basically, it's an 8-hour arm workout.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's crazy. I don't have the time or energy to do 21 movements like that. Like I'm looking at it right now, and it's just blowing my fucking mind. Like it goes bench press, dumbbell fly, incline bench press, cable crossovers, dips, dumbbell pullovers, wide grip pull up, and it just keeps going.
hmm
It's like every single movement you can do for chest and back and legs in one setting, in one movement or one workout, and at least 5 sets, typically 5 sets at least, and minimum like 6 to 10 reps goal for all sets. Some of them get up to like 12 to 15. Some of them are just failure for each set. So like you would do 5 sets of dips till failure. Each one's till
Yeah.
failure. That's just unbelievable to me. Like I don't even like how the hell do you have the energy for that? Even like the Marcus Rule body shock workout that he do that, once in a while. I think it was like a week or a month. I forget how long the actual duration was. I can understand how he had the time for that shit. Like it might be like 8 or 9 movements for your back, and he'd do like during a back day, which I could see. You might be in the gym for a couple hours, but like that kind of makes sense to me. If you're doing
Yeah.
4 or 5 sets, and you're doing 9 movements for your back or something like that, I can understand that. But 21 movements and 5 to 6 sets each, like
Well,
you're beyond wasting your time.
see, Paul, you're not looking at it the right way. You need to grab a barbell. You need to go to the leg extension machine, and while you're doing leg extensions, you're doing a military press.
You're shocking the body. You're shocking the muscle group.
And it's also a crunch machine, so you're actually crunching, pushing, and leg extension.
That's so dumb. What else can we put in there? And
add
you can do
add the
this with forearms.
well, no, while you're crunching down and your upper body's pulling down, you add the Brian Shaw keg push into that, so then you have more resistance.
That's so dumb. That's awesome. That'd be you're just working out your whole body at once.
It's like I don't know how this ever gained any traction. I tried it once when I was a PF person. They have a full body workout where you stand on a platform and the platform just shakes you.
That's not a full body workout.
You just sit there for like a half hour going like this, and they're like, "Great workout."
Okay. Well, moving on.
Yeah,
Day two. So day one was chest, back, and legs. Day two is shoulders and arms. Shoulders and arms has a good like 15 to 20 movements. Each one is a minimum of there's a minimum of 4 sets technically, but most of them are 6 sets. And then he just repeat that. So there's 2 days. He goes chest, back, legs, and then shoulders, arms, and then do that again, again, again. Day 7 is rest. So odd days would be chest, back, legs. Even days is shoulders and arms, and then day 7 is rest.
yeah. There's that, and then there's also the 3 day that I
Yeah,
was
that
doing.
one makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, the 3 day is the chest back, abs, shoulder, arm. Well, it says shoulder, arm, triceps, but shoulders and arms, and
Yeah.
then legs.
See, like that, I could see a lot more. The shoulders and arms looks like something I was hitting like during prep. You know, like that's like when you have the energy for it and you're taking stuff that helps with the energy and working out feels fucking phenomenal, you want to
Mm.
train as much as that shoulders and arms workout. Like that's like your minimum. So I can understand that. His chest and back workout, that's actually a really fucking solid ass workout. Like I
Yeah.
would give that to someone. I'd be like, yeah, this is a pretty good chest and back workout. Granted, you could get better results if you split them up differently. So if you did chest and tries or chest and bis and then do the opposite with back.
Yeah. Complementary muscles. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that way you're not doing two gigantic muscle groups, but like the chest and back workout makes sense. Like everything within that makes sense. The sets make sense. The amount of what you're actually doing makes sense. Like that legit looks like one of my movements right now.
Mm.
Granted, like I said, it's not chest and back together. It'd be like chest and biceps right now, but it looks very similar to that. I'm also not really hitting anything for abs right now either. So I'm just not focusing on abs right now. I just would rather just get out the gym. But yeah, so I mean he did kind of bring about really high intensity workouts. I mean, a lot of what he was known for was, as far as training goes, is just training hard, which is a good thing to have, you know, which is, I mean, one of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten from my coach specifically was when Chewy moved out here. He said, "Go train with Paul. He trains hard and he knows what he's doing with training."
Mm.
And that's one of my greatest compliments because you know I do train hard and super nice guy, the front desk guy at the gym I go to. He's also a trainer. He posted me and this other guy on his Instagram because he's like these two guys specifically every day they come in, they put their head down and they fucking work. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. Like it's
Hmm.
I want to be known for that. I want to be known for training hard.
And for posing.
And yeah, really at the end of the day, I want to be known for being a good poser. Kind of like Lee Priest, you know, like I want to
Mm.
be not Lee Priest, sorry, Lee Labrada.
Well, I
Lee
was gonna
Labrada is
say
known for his
too,
posing.
the video you sent me of,
Oh, Terrence Ruffins.
oh my
Oh, I
god, can
love
you,
that video, dude.
we
Love
might
that
have
video.
to, no, I don't go there anymore, but when you're up, what you said, 2 weeks?
Next week, actually, Friday, I'm flying up.
Okay. Well, we might have to go do an Empire one because I'm not a member there anymore, but Empire just opened a posing room with
Nice.
giant, like the spotlight style lighting with mirrors front and side. They have different stands for you to put your phone on. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's
legit.
what's up. Yeah, we got to check that out. There's a gym near me that has a posing room, but I just never go there. I haven't been doing much posing lately just because I feel like I look like shit. So I
Mm.
haven't really been bothering. But yeah, that video of Terrence is phenomenal. I think it's Vengeance, the theme song to The Equalizer, I think, is the song in that, I believe. And it's just phenomenal. He learned a lot of his posing from Lee Labrada, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's a video of Terrence Ruffins posing. It was clearly like a photo shoot, right? It was designed for this, and there's video and editing and all that,
Yeah,
or
like when he
music and
did
all that.
a when he did one of these and there's a camera where his hand is, like, you that's intentional.
Yeah, and like there's like this like animated smoke when he does like this like fly movement kind of thing when he goes
Yep.
down. But he learned it from I think a lot of his posing from Lee Labrada, and the way Lee Labrada posed is what's called open and or closed open closed. So the way it would work is he would when he's transitioning from movement to movement, he'd open up his body, he'd open it up. So like you're doing a front double, he would then like open up his body, like spread out his arms, and then he would do like a scorpion or something like that. Like it was like the way that he would pose is very like it's flow like water is the idea.
Mm.
It's transitioning. The transitions is what's so nice about Lila Brada's posing style. So that's really what's featured in that video. So phenomenal posing. Arnold was a really really good poser as well. You know, he has one of the most iconic poses of all time, arguably, with his like side back.
There's a statue of it.
Yeah, in Columbus, yeah. And what's interesting about that pose specifically is that people don't realize, well, one, how hard it is to hit that because you're crunching your side so hard. And at the same time, people think that like when you're doing it, it's kind of like a front double combined with a side chest for your legs, but then you just angle. It's like, dude, no, you actually look at the pose. his shoulders and his arms are like perpendicular with the ground. Like they're perfectly straight up and down. Like he's really bent the fuck over. So anytime somebody does that, I'm like, further. Like almost every single time I'm like, twist further.
It's
Like
that
you have to
Star
go
Wars
deeper.
meme. More!
More! Shooting the lasers at Luke.
Yeah.
More! But yeah, that's exactly how it is. I'm like, fucking more! And then I like tell them to angle more and they don't do it. I'm like, fucking more! Keep going!
Their spine snaps and they're paralyzed. More!
More! It's excuses! You think Arnold gave excuses? No! You gotta say it like Greg. You think Arnold gave excuses? No!
When I'm gaming later or next time I have it, I know it's going to pop up and I'm going to think of this conversation.
Instead of Carl Weiss, you got to do Greg Doucette. You got to learn how to do it good.
Well, the thing is, you and I know Greg Doucette, but if I made a Greg Doucette reference around, like, let's say my students, they would have no idea who that
Probably
is.
not. No, no, not at all. But it's all good. You understand. You'll make yourself laugh. That's what matters. But yeah, so we'll update you guys next week. We'll figure something out for next weekend. Seeing what we should do for that. I completely forgot to figure something out for that, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll be good.
Yeah, next weekend I'll be up in Massachusetts, so we'll see what we can do then. If we're gonna record something in person or record something ahead of time or something. But we appreciate you guys listening. We'll probably do another Arnold episode at some point, just because he's so prevalent.
There's so much content for him.
Yeah, really, we got to do a lot of influencers. We still got like C-Bum and Ronnie and Dorian and all that. Like we should probably do all the big ones.
Yeah,
we talk about each one. Yeah, Ziz and Jeffrey Side probably just because he's a meme. Bradley Castleberry because he's a meme. All that. So we'll
Coach Greg.
Definitely. Yeah, Coach Greg.
We'll do that episode all in our Coach Greg voice.
My throat would be raw after that, I bet. Be ruined. But yeah, so
the thing you have to know is that Greg Doucette, he's a bodybuilder.
He's a bodybuilder. Do you think he's going to do this on his own? No. That's one of my favorite things he says is he ends sentences with no. Yeah. But yeah, so
on the reverse side, his yes is like, well, yeah.
Well, yeah. Sure.
Great. Now I'm gonna go watch Greg videos all day.
Yeah, gotta master his voice. Do a perfect impersonation of him. Yeah. And you just gotta get as big as him. Once you get swole.
Well, that's something that, like, you know, respectfully, people like I think intentionally does the angle where it's just his shoulders up because you can't tell how ripped he is, and he is a unit. Like, granted, he's a meme. He does a lot of clickbait content, but he's diced and he gets paid to guest pose. Like, he's a legit person in the bodybuilding world.
Yeah, for sure. He just has kind of become very clickbaity. That's why people have lost respect for him. But he was very respected over a very long period of time. So he's not new to the industry at all. But yeah, so we'll talk about him at some point. But we appreciate you guys listening to today's episode. A little bit about us, a little bit about Arnold, a little bit about training, all that. So appreciate you guys. We love doing it. So keep listening and keep us going.
Oh yeah. All right, everybody.
Peace. See you guys.